clocks are turning, the minutes burning, faster than we make the plans. How do you make the time? How do you take the time? How do you make the time to place the world inside you? There's never enough hours in the day for all the work and rest we need to play. There's a child deep within us that needs to jump and spin us, but there's never enough hours in the day. Now we've got the fast food to go with the fast mood. Those TV dinners, they're real winners. There's time to save with a microwave. How do you make the time? How do you take the time? How do you make the time to place the world inside you? There's never enough hours in the day for all the work and rest we need to play. There's a child deep within us that needs to jump and spin us, but there's never enough hours in the Now we've got drinking to slow up the thinking, and the answer to it all is to have a little more and to end up on the floor. There's never enough hours in the day for all the work and rest we need to play. There's a child deep within us that needs to jump and spin us, but there's never enough hours in the day. There's never enough hours in the day for all the work and rest we need to play. There's a child deep within us that needs to jump and spin us, but there's never enough hours in the day.
Welcome, everybody. You know, our first Friday is always dedicated to the National Parks Arts Foundation Artists in Residence. And today we're going to chat with Rachel, Mari, Kimber, which I want to say Marie and all kinds of different names with that, because that's kind of an international kind of name, right? And she's from Wales, and she's going to be in Saguaro National Park, which is one of the newest residencies through the National Parks Arts Foundation. And it's exciting because you know, Rachel is actually lives in Arizona, but she does come from Wales. And this is interesting. We've been doing a lot of shows about Wales lately. And back in the day, when I lived in England as a young girl, people kind of looked down at Wales in a weird way. And I want to just go, like, screw that. Good people come from Wales, and so do good musicians and artists. So welcome, Rachel. How are you?
Thank you so much for having me on the show, Lisa. Appreciate it.
Now, am I allowed to say that about what happens between England and Wales? Am I right in this, or is it just like in the 80s something went on? What was that about?
I would say that that was accurate to the time. Like in the 80s, yes. I mean, when I was growing up, there would be like jokes about English and Welsh to do with sheep, usually.
That also was Scotland.
Right.
Yeah.
But it was considered friendly rivalry, but I never got it. I never understood it. And
me neither. I was just a kid.
So it was something that I think was thrown out there.
But this is interesting because Wales is beautiful. It is extraordinarily like beautiful. And that's what I remember as a kid when we lived in England and we toured Scotland, Wales, we went everywhere. And I just remember your homeland as being extraordinarily beautiful and green and lush and the
Yeah.
castles. I mean, the castles, but the castles have like, you know, where I don't care what country you're in. When you go to a castle or a castle, now my language is going to change. I'm going to go back to how I used to speak. Um, that's like a diverse history, right?
Mm.
That is complicated. Let's put it that way. So it's really interesting. So I'm just fascinated about you being in the States.
Well, funnily enough, if you were English, you'd say castle, but if you're Welsh
Castle.
or if you're from where I'm from, Cardiff, you probably say castle.
Oh, really?
From
Wow.
Cardiff, see, so it's the different accent.
Wow.
So yeah,
Really?
yeah,
So I always said castle, being in South Africa and Kenya is my
yes,
upbringing, and then a little bit of England was
yeah,
castle, and
yes.
now here castle. So now you're oh wow, I
And the
love
River
this.
Taff.
Yeah,
So River Taff runs through Cardiff or Cardiff, depending if you're putting an accent.
Cardiff. Oh,
Car-
so maybe you're closer to like the Boston side of language in
Mm.
this country. Like they would say castle instead of castle. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just like all confused now, but this is great. I love this.
There's so many accents.
But that's humanity about what was like how places were settled and I love this stuff. I love it. But what brought you to America?
Oh, long story short,
Yeah, you're in Arizona now. Like you're a far way from Greenland.
yeah.
Greenlands, like I should say.
Well,
The
long
green.
story short is that I was discovered by a gentleman who was a music producer, and he managed my earlier career, and we recorded some albums, and then we got married, and then we moved to the French West Indies, and then we moved to,
Oh,
then we had a baby, and then we moved to Canada. And then after 5 years in Canada, we separated and he moved to Arizona. So I ended up moving to Arizona so that we could raise our daughter together.
wow. I love this. This is the story. This is awesome. Travel. So your child has got to have a wonderful background of travel.
Yes,
That
and
is
music
awesome.
from both of us. She's very fortunate like that. Her dad's an incredible music producer and had a career in it. So she's been influenced by everything he's listened to, everything he's produced. And then she's got me with all my musical instruments. And
That's
yeah,
awesome.
but
And
she,
it's awesome to have that balance, like
yeah.
as you're touching on, that is awesome. So now you're in Tempe, Arizona, and now you applied for the Saguaro National Park residency through the National Parks Arts Foundation, which I think they are incredible. And you haven't done the residency yet, so everyone will catch up with her later on this. But this is the thing, we'd love to get the before after if we can do it, but at least let people know who are these artists going into these residencies.
Mhm.
You're in Tempe, Arizona right now. What made you say, I want to go for this residency that's not too far away?
Well, this is a crazy story. My friend Anna Stitt, she runs an AV company called Lightning Wonders, Arizona, AV. And she found the advert for the residencies and said, "Oh, Rachel, why don't you go for one of those?" And I was like, "What's that?" I'd never even heard of it. I didn't know it existed. And then I read online about what the stay in the park, and I thought, what a wonderful opportunity. And I have a very, very strong affinity with nature, with animals, with just the natural world in general. It's almost the driving force in me. If I'm feeling sad or down, I'll take myself to the forest, and then I'm happy as Larry.
Hug a tree and we're all back to normal. Really.
Exactly. Yeah, it's true what they say about forest bathing and grounding and nature. And ever since I was very little, I would hear birds outside my bedroom window, and I would mimic them, and I would listen and mimic. And Blackbird, for example, has hundreds of different tunes, so there's never a dull moment. They're always changing it up. And you can also hear in birdsong how the great classic period, where you'd have orchestras and Mozart and Beethoven, all those great classical composers, they took all their inspiration from birdsong and nature, mostly birdsong. So the idea of staying in a park and being able to completely immerse myself in the natural sounds of the desert was just like dream come true.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm trying to hold myself back while you were talking because I'm so excited about this. So like the mockingbird is like my bird,
Yes.
right? Because that's what the mockingbird does. It mocks everything. My nickname from growing up in Africa and Kenya, the tribe, there's one tribe woman called me Kasuku, which is my nickname, which is a parrot, because I copied and mimicked, and I'm a singer. So like I copy, like I can I can copy any sound. It's weird,
Wonderful.
but it's weird. It's weird. But
No, it's
Kasuku, we always thought was, oh, because she can sing. It's not. Kasuku, the parrot, is mimicry. And so, and my spirit bird is the mockingbird.
Oh,
Which is a mimicry, right? The
mhm,
mockingbird mimics.
right.
I love that you talk about these birds. And when you're in Saguaro National Park,
Mhm.
I'm so excited for you because of the birds that you will experience. You have the thrasher, you've got the brown-billed thrasher. You have got oh my gosh. So you got flickers, you got woodpeckers. I mean, you already know all this stuff. Come on, you already know these birds that are going to be there. You've got, oh my gosh, there's the little yellow ones, and I'm just like freaking out because I can't remember their name. These
That-
little ones that are so cute and so sweet. They're like warblers, but they're not. But honestly, the birds, and when you go to Saguaro National Park, there is a space that you can sit in a ramada and they will all come to you. And I will send you this information before we go off this chat after
Thank
this
you.
podcast, because not everyone should know about it. But
No.
I will send it to you. I mean, it's there for everybody, but it is a special place
Mhm,
where the birds come and gather, and
mhm,
you will hear them, and you
mhm,
will just enjoy a day of that. There's rattlesnakes there too. So
mhm,
I'm just letting you know.
mhm.
But you play the cello
Yeah, so
and
my
sing. So I want to talk about that because that is an earth instrument to me that is deep connected to the earth.
yes, it's a heart force instrument. It's the instrument that's
Mm.
closest to mimicking, funnily enough, the sound of the human voice.
Oh, wow.
And it's my intention not just to absorb the bird song and produce it, if I can, with my mouth, like, and things like that, you know, the little,
Yeah.
but also to find ways of expressing it on the cello. Maybe not just birds, maybe other animals too, but to interpret taking in all the senses of the natural world, and
The
then
vibe.
yeah,
Yeah.
through my instruments. Like if I did see a rattlesnake, observing the way it moves and what it
Awesome.
feels like, and then maybe sliding around on the cello, you know, that kind of thing. So I don't know whether the idea of it will be different from the reality of it, but I'm excited to find out.
This is exciting. It's exciting because you already know the desert, right? And you played in Flagstaff. You have a band. You have a band you play with, right?
Oh, well, I play cello for a band. So that's different from what I do with my own compositions. So I also songwrite, and like you, I sing and play guitar. So I use my instruments and my voice as an instrument. and I compose songs. But I also, aside that, I play cello for a band called Black Forest Society. And they're based up in the Verde Valley. So we have done gigs around that region as well. And that's a wonderful experience. Very similar feel and timbre to the songs that I produce. So kind of that woodsy, earthy vibe. Yeah.
Oh, I like that. I'm a Virgo. I like the earthiness. Bring it. Bring it. That's good. So doing this residency,
Mhm.
did you go in? Well, you're not there yet as we record this, so I want people to know you're about to go there, and
Mhm.
hopefully we'll get to catch up with you afterwards.
Mhm.
Going in, do you have any ideas of what you want to do? Because I'm going to say this, it's probably going to change. I'm just going to say, because everyone we've interviewed has always changed what they thought they were going to go into.
Mhm.
Has like, well, now that we're in it, we want to do it this way, which is
Mhm.
beautiful. And the National Parks Arts Foundation is so cool about that. They're
Yeah.
like, that's the point. You're an
Yeah.
artist. You need to create what you need to do and do how you need to do it. And we've been working with them for years on this, on the podcast and everything. And it's like, they get it. They
Mm.
get it. And I think that's beautiful. So I know you may have an idea, but
Mhm.
what is that right now for
Okay,
you?
so my idea is to be immersed by the natural world, probably for the first week, and then to like really digest it and then transform it into music and to produce that music and record that music, however that looks. And it could be as simple as recording on my phone, doing lives for YouTube, or I could go into a program on one computer and set up a microphone and attempt to do a decent recording with different layers and just see what comes out. But my intention generally and my purpose in life is to heal people through music. And I feel that the natural world is the best resource for healing people.
Mhm.
And so to add my human sound vibration to that and bring that as a healing tool for people, I feel is where I'm headed and what my intention is.
So when you're in Saguaro National Park, you know there's the east and west part of the park, right? There's two sections that you can experience this, and one actually goes up into more of a mountainous area. So there's two different topographies to experience. Have you looked at that as something for getting different sounds, for different vibrations? Because I find sound is a healing mechanism, right?
Yes.
And like Nancy, my mom, who runs all of this with me, we were listening to music the other day. I'm like, that's against my chakras. I have to turn it off. And she's like, what? You know, and it is. There's certain things that just don't go, you
Uh-huh.
know,
Yes.
and that's okay. And
Mm,
maybe it goes for somebody else's, but
mm,
music does go with our
mm.
I cannot really explain it well, but I do know that our chakras and our physical body and our spiritual body and music align
Yes.
and don't align if it's not good
Yeah.
for us in particular. So what I was going, that's not going, and I've had it happen a few times where I'm like, that is actually not good for me right now. And
I,
I don't
I
know,
would
I don't,
probably I would probably veer towards the mountainous side of the park because I love mountains. I love mountains, lakes, and trees is my thing. But I think it's important that I also challenge myself and visit the east side
yeah.
as well, where it's more desert-like. Is that right?
Oh, yes. Yes. But it's also a valley and it's lush. I've been there in the snow. It's
Oh,
amazing. It's
awesome.
amazing. So,
Okay.
as a musician going into these different places,
Mhm.
I think you're going to get all different kinds of sounds, like that are different, and you're able to get different species of birds and slightly different. You'll get roadrunners in both, right? Because it's still
Yeah.
in the Sonoran Desert. But when you go up into the east part, it's going to be a little different, just a tad.
Oh.
Depends on how far you go. So that's what I'm saying. Is like it could appeal to people in a different way depending on where you are. Do
Mm.
you think that in your music ever when you write or no?
Yes, I do. I feel that if I look at my body of work so far, you can tell that it's me and it's my songwriting style, but the different influences you can hear throughout, and they're so varied. I can write rock songs, I can write pop songs, I can write classical songs, I can write ethereal songs, and all of those styles are kind of all blended in. So and generally I think people really enjoy my music, but there are some people that just don't like my voice, or for whatever reason. So you're absolutely right. Resonate. There's a resonance. And some people are like, wow, I love your voice, I find it so healing. So you're going to be drawn to what's right for you, and at the correct frequency for you as well. So yeah,
well, I
that.
think it's exciting about you going into like the park itself and creating from there and looking at the natural sounds, because we wouldn't have music as we know it without those natural sounds, right? Isn't that a huge part of it? And so it's like an ancient being that comes through you in a way. That's how I look at it.
I'd love to speak to that, because in the last probably, I don't know, 5 or 10 years, I've gotten more attuned to my spiritual world, and I meditate and go into a different mode, and I channel, and with my intention to go in the parks, I want to tune in with the earth and the spirits of the earth, and to also interpret that within what I'm doing. And I feel like this will really help me connect with native Arizona, which, as you know, Lisa, is vastly different from Wales. And the green and the moisture and the constant rain is the absolute opposite. So yeah, to really tune in with the desert and produce something that feels honoring of this land.
Well, what's so cool about, we're recording this right before you go in, right? And then as this airs, you're pretty much going to be there. And Saguaro National Park goes through what we call 5 seasons, and you're at this point of beauty in a different, you're going to see, oh my gosh, it's so exciting. I mean, I don't really care what season or day it is in Saguaro National Park. There's beauty. You get up there in the morning, you get there at 4 or 5 in the morning and watch it really happen. It's insanity. When you see the sunrise come up, do you even think there's going to be a glimmer of a cloud? You get your butt up in the morning and you get out there. I don't care where. Get out there and just do it. It is insanity. Like what you experience. I got into a crazy, I get insane euphoria over this park. Like, I mean it. Like, I can't sleep the night before knowing I'm going out on a hike in the morning.
Wow.
That's how insanity, like, I mean it. Like, when I talk about insanity, hello, here I am. That's it. That's how beautiful in the morning. And you see how the saguaros, and then you start seeing all these changes of colors. The colorization changes that happen in that park, all, and color and music go together, right? You will hear it when you're there, and you'll hear, if you just sit still, you will hear everything change. You will hear it all. I can't wait for you to do this. I'm excited. And the cello is amazing, because what you talk about, and there are artists that have gone out there in among the saguaros and played. So I'm wondering about you doing that, for like just playing and recording, playing the cello among the saguaros. I don't know if that's legal or not.
I'd love to
Anything.
experiment with that.
I have a feeling there's people have done it, and you should. I don't know if it's legal, but hopefully I'm going to get ourselves in trouble, right? Saying this on the air, but it would
Well,
be
I'll find
cool.
out if it's possible. If it's possible, I'll do it.
Well, I think plants like music.
Oh, yes. Yes.
I think they do. They're not trees, but they're kind of close. That's how I look at them, you know? So in Tempe, you do still have saguaros around you out there, right?
Yeah,
So you kind of have that connection.
yeah.
But this is a lower elevation, the Sonoran Desert, that has this biodiversity that is not so cityfied.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to being in a place that's not so cityfied for sure.
I can't wait for this. I'm so excited that you're doing this. Like, it's cool. So, are you going to take your guitar with you out there? Like,
So I'm basically going to take everything. I'm going to take my my guitars, plural, because they're in different keys. My cello, my flute, just
oh, so
my
multi-instrumentalist we're talking about.
yeah.
Yeah. So the flute, okay. So what
Yeah.
inspired, let's talk about this because you're multi-instrumentalist, because the flute has like this amazing different sound than like your cello. You're going into the roots in the earth with the cello. Flute is like happy bird. Ooh, here I
Air,
am,
yeah, it's an
right?
air instrument.
Ah, is that what it is?
Flute I have is a native flute. It's a wooden flute. It's actually from
Oh,
Canada. It's a Canadian Native American flute.
oh.
Yeah, it's very beautiful.
And so how do you choose what you're going to play for what? Is it about the feeling,
I feel like I
the
get
song?
told. It's like I was telling you about channeling, and I get into a
Mm-hmm.
certain mode. If I meditate and I empty myself, I become an empty vessel to channel, and I just get told what to do. And it's often the case when I'm writing, if I write an actual song, because I can write pieces of music and soundscapes very easily. I'll just start something and it'll like impulse or intuition or a
Mm-hmm.
mixture of both, and I'll just start layering things, and it just ends up being a whole orchestra. But if I'm actually writing a song, that's got a lot more structure to it. And when I do that, I can still have moments where if I'm that empty vessel and something's coming through, it will write itself, literally. Have you had that experience?
Mm-hmm. Sure, absolutely. I'm laughing because yes, it's weird.
It's magical. It's very,
Yeah,
very
I know. Does that I'm not trying to be, it's just I don't know how to explain it in human form. I don't know how to explain that. A channel is a good word, right? That would
yeah.
be like a
Yeah.
focus. Um,
It's like a
from
radio station, really, isn't it? Because if
yeah,
you
it's like
tune
you tune
in
into
the
you
dial
tune in.
to a
So
particular
focus,
channel,
focus is the best way I can put it. Is like a focus, but like yeah, but all I know is it gets wonky and interesting because I'll go into other places, but it's focused. It's like a there's either the download or like I'm going to take you on a journey you did not know what you were going to go into. So I don't know how to do all that stuff, but it happens and it's frequent and it's weird, but it's cool. So
Yeah.
it's cool.
Yeah.
So that's to me in nature when you go out and you really just sit and listen and stop everything, the phone, and you can't use your phone in the park anyway, which is
Yeah,
great.
that's what I'm excited about, honestly, because
You can just ingest.
yeah, as a self-employed musician, I really don't know how to take time off or how to stop. So like this is an opportunity for me to just clear some space and just stop and be present and just absorb.
Wow, yeah, that's kind of hard. Yeah.
Yeah, especially when
Yeah.
you just constantly go. I think a
And
lot of
now,
people find that in their lives that they just go.
what about being as a woman too? How do you think about these kinds of opportunities for women? Have you seen them before? Like for women, like you were saying, your friend found this, but have you
Yeah.
ever thought of it before this?
No, I hadn't, and it's funny I hadn't even
Wow.
thought about it as being female. I just feel I happen to be female, but
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
happened.
Because there's other artists who are like, we've all been trying for this. And then, like, for women, it's been harder. And, you
Yeah,
know,
very
not for, with National Parks Arts Foundation is very open, you know,
Yeah.
versus they're not like, oh, you have to be male or female or
Mm.
anything. They go through a wonderful judicial process that, you know, when you're selected, you're selected. And if you don't get selected, still try again, everybody. Always
That's
bring that up because you may not be selected. But I think this is exciting about you going because I mean you're seeing all these different terrains in your travels.
Mm.
Do you ever feel a connection between Wales and also Arizona, just even in the nature with the birds?
Hmm. Um,
It don't matter if you don't.
I
Yeah.
know, honestly.
Yeah, it's so different. It's that
It
different.
So, yeah, I've visited other states in America, and Pennsylvania was absolutely akin with Wales in so many ways that it like brought
Yeah,
me
I
to.
agree. I agree. I agree.
But Arizona, when I first moved here, and because it wasn't really out of choice, it was more out of kind of that's where I was taken.
Yeah.
Um, it actually took me, I feel, the first 5 years to make peace with living in the desert. It was a very harsh and alien environment for me, and I didn't like spiky things. I didn't like being overheated. I'd much rather be cold and put a jumper on or drink
A
hot chocolate.
jumper. Did you just say a jumper?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I haven't heard that for years. I love it. I love it. I love this. Tomorrow I'm going to have a phone chat with all my friends from England and South Africa, and we're all going to laugh about that because they say jumper. And I grew up saying jumper.
Yeah.
No, sweater, everybody. Yeah.
So in terms of that, it really is very, very opposite from my upbringing and everything I've ever known. And it wasn't something I chose. So I really did make peace with it. But the way I made peace with being in the desert was to explore different parts of Arizona. And the first time I really kind of felt my heart opening up to the desert was in the Verde Valley.
Mm,
With all those beautiful big cottonwood trees. And I mean,
water, that river.
water on the green is like, but the magic of the saguaro, the fruit that it blossoms is just phenomenal. Someone one time gave me a piece of dried saguaro fruit, and it was a very unique one-off amazing experience, and it tasted like fruit, dried fruit, like fruity berry, but some kind of subtle burnt caramel berry. It
Mm,
just blew my mind that something that looks so obtrusive is actually the most long-suffering, arduous, incredible plant that produces such sweetness. There's a great metaphor of life in there that, you know, the harder the path, the sweeter things can
yes.
unfold, you know.
Well, the saguaro is amazing, and we're losing them, you know, which is sad. We're
Oh,
losing them through climate change, just like Joshua trees, and then people shoot them and do all kinds of stupid stuff. And so I think the more the arts showcase them, it's important. Not everybody's going to be able to experience a saguaro, but there is a sound that comes from them, and you'll find it. I know you will. Well, it's just like a tree, right? A tree moves and you hear a bending.
right.
You will find the saguaro has that sound. You just have to take the time.
Well, now I'm
And
going
the ears,
to buy a
they
saguaro.
do move. They do move and have a sound. Now I sound wonky and everyone's going to go like, you are really weird after this conversation. But a saguaro has a sound because it moves. Anything that moves has a sound, and it's up to us. You can't put your hand on it, obviously, but there is, even if it's a like you're seeing it move and you have it in your head, there's a sound. And I'm very excited for you to be out there. And September is going to be a good month. You're in that tweener time of seasons, and things will still be in bloom and also changing up. Saguaros will be changing up, not saguaros as much, the ocotillos and things like that will start to move.
Yeah,
But not, yeah, you're going to be in a different season. It's that in between.
so the other thing that I've been learning since coming to Arizona is all the various medicines that these plants bring. It's
Like the Datura?
incredible. Yeah, there's that one. But I mean, I was thinking of when you said not saguaro, the other one.
I was talking about Joshua. There's Mormon's tea. There's
Yeah,
there.
Morphe is amazing.
Mhm.
Really is. I recall being shown it and being handed some and keeping it and having that tea when I got home. And I think it cured an ailment that I had at the time.
Datura, which please don't go and do this, which is Jimson weed,
That
is
contains
the
mind
belladonna is amazing. And so we had a curandero on our show years ago, and Nancy, my mom, this is when we lived outside Joshua Tree National Park, and she was out in the garden and she just did something with her back and she ended up having to crawl back in. Now we live in the desert. When you're crawling through the desert, you're already getting your hands and some kind of spines are getting in there. And she came in, she's like, I flung my back. And the curandero had been on our show and he had written about the different medicinal things you can do from the different plants, and Datura, which is the belladonna or Jimson weed, was one of them. And he talked about just using it in the bath. She's like, well, it's what we have on hand. She did pour herself a stiff drink of whiskey, or it was bourbon or whiskey, one of the two. And she got in the bathtub and we put those leaves, not the flower, the leaves,
Okay, the leaves.
into the bathtub. She got out of the bathtub, no problem. Stood up, walked out, was fine. And she was like,
Wow.
I am the most relaxed and happiest human being. I'm like, she didn't smoke it or anything. Please do not smoke the Jimson weed. You might die. But she walked out of that bathtub like you wouldn't believe, got up. Anybody with a back problem knows to be able to stand up is like night and day.
Yeah. Wow. I
So
didn't know that about the leaves. I know that the flowers, apparently, if you touch them, you can go blind if you touch them. But they also, if you are by them, their presence can give you really strong dreams because they're very connected with dream time.
that's probably why I was like a little happy in the desert all the time. We had them all over our property. Like,
Oh,
I was like,
wow.
wow, I think they're the most beautiful plants. And there's like those angel trumpets, trumpet flowers that hang down. They're all the same family that I think they're gorgeous flowers. And people don't think that they exist in the desert. When you get to Saguaro National Park, it's like this whole other world that's different than Tempe. You will find flowers. And this is what is so beautiful. The desert parks have flowers and they're little small ones or just different than what you would think. I can't wait for you to go there because they all have a sound. I think every plant has a sound.
It does.
Do you sing to plants?
Oh, yes, often.
So I'm not insane. It's not
No,
just
I
me.
mean, if you think about it, a plant it's alive. So, I mean, we're alive, but the plants are alive. So they have a life force, and that life force responds to human interaction. So yeah, I have plants all around my house, and I sing to them. I talk to them. Sometimes I say good morning to them.
Hello.
Giving them some water. I'll say, here you go, and I'll stroke their leaves, and yeah.
I can't wait for you to go there. I can't wait. I want to hear. I want to know, like, did you play the flute for this plant or the cello for this one? I mean, I think there's something beautiful about playing the cello in the desert, like actually sitting down and playing it in the desert in a wash. You have to be in a wash.
Wash, okay.
I know you're looking at me like, why?
I will put that on the
Because
list.
it's cooler. It's cooler.
Oh.
It's cooler and it's calmer, and
Okay.
you'll have a better sound. You won't be up in the real big wind thing, but if
That
you're in a
makes
desert wash,
Yeah. That does, Lisa. That makes a lot of sense.
I'll send you some links of where to be. Like, honestly, I
thank
know
you.
that park so well. I'll send you links of where to go. But like, honestly, just cool. Like, there's certain places where you could just sit up and play, and I swear the birds will come. I know.
I love that.
And butterflies. because you'll still be there in the end of the butterfly season. Oh yeah, you will.
Oh,
That'd be
good.
awesome. You're in a good space. I'm excited for you.
Thank you so much.
Cool. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much for joining us, and tell everybody how they can keep up with you online.
Online, I do put out live videos on YouTube, which is Rachel Murray Kimber -live. So if you look for my live channel on YouTube, that's a good resource. Or on Instagram, I think I'm at Rachel Murray Kimber. So it's
And
RachelMarikimber.
and website? Everything?
RachelMurrayKimber.com.
There you go, everybody. Keep up with Rachel there, and thank you so much. And keep up with the National Parks Arts Foundation at nationalparksartsfoundation.org. We love them there. It's so exciting what they do, and
Yeah.
love that you were on the show and what you're doing. Thank you so much.
Thank you for this opportunity. Very much appreciate you.
Thank you for listening to Big Blend Radio. Keep up with our shows at bigblendradio.com.